Welcome back to the channel, guys. Open water fishing is right around the corner. It's going to be here real soon, so I figured I'd put this video out for you guys. Before we go any further, if you're a new viewer here or you've seen a few of my videos and you still haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button down here below. It really helps me out. I appreciate it. And everything in this video that I can, I'll link down in the description below, so if you guys want to do any of these mods or hacks yourself, you can find the gear that I'm using right here. Alright, so here's my top 10 fly fishing hacks for you guys. Some of these are tips and tricks, some of them are kind of mods that you can do to gear and stuff, and most of them are either free or extremely cheap. So let's dive into it. Let's hit number one. Let's get into it. This is something that if you've been fly fishing a while, you probably already know how to do. So how many of you guys have ever strung up a fly fishing rod? You run your tippet through all the guides, you get to your last 2 or 3 guides, and then you let go of that line and everything that you just strung through the rod falls to the ground and you get to start over again. That tippet is super small, super hard to see, really hard to handle putting it through the guides and threading it through. So the best way to do this is to strip off a bunch of fly line, so you have a bunch of it laying on the ground, and double over your fly line and use that to thread through all of your guides. So not only is that line thicker and easier to handle and see, if you end up letting go of that line on accident, it won't all unravel on you and fall down through your rod. And once you get all the way through your tip, you just pull the excess line through and you're all set. That's a super easy hack. If you're a fly fisherman, fly fishing woman, whatever, you got to know that one. That's like a basic one. We'll do one more tip here and get these ones out of the way. These are kind of ones that a lot of people know about. This one may be kind of specific to nymph fishing, but if you're fishing a long leader, when you're storing your fly on your hook keeper or on your rod somewhere, if your line is reeled all the way in through your last guide, when you take that fly off and get ready to fish, sometimes it gets stuck as you're trying to pull on it. You're trying to pull that line out through the tip of the rod. It's really easy to break a rod tip that way, and it's just frustrating and a waste of time. So the best way to alleviate that is, especially with these nymph rigs, if you're fishing like a double nymph rig with an indicator and split shot, you're going to have leader beyond the end of your fly line that is much longer than your rod is. 12 feet, maybe more in some cases. Take the last fly on your line and either hook it on your hook keeper. In my case here, my rod doesn't have a hook keeper, so I'm going to hook it on the very first eyelet. So I hook it on there and then take the excess line and wrap it around the end of the reel, and then you can just reel up the slack. And what that does is, when you're storing it like this, it allows the fly line to be out beyond the tip of the rod. So when you get ready to fish, all you have to do is unhook that fly, unwrap it around your reel, and start casting. Your fly line is already out of the tip of the rod. There's no messing around with it, and it's super easy. A lot of the reels you get, you'll notice the back of them on the reel seat, they're nice and smooth, so you can run your line right through that and it's not gonna nick your line or cut into it at all. Really something everybody should know. If you're nymph fishing a lot, you're gonna get tangles with everything, and this is just a way to make it a lot easier and a lot less stressful. All right, number 3 is gonna be a mod that you can do to your wading boots. If you have wading boots that either don't have cleats on them, or you have an older set of boots that the cleats are worn out and you want to replace them, you can go to the big name companies and they have screw-in cleats that you can buy and put into your boots. If you're doing this every year, that can get expensive. So my old pair of boots here actually has a set of cleats that are permanently attached to the boot and they're completely worn out. So what you can do is go to your local hardware store, or I'll link a package right down here in the description below. The ones that I have here are 3/8 of an inch. The ones here in the Sims package, these ones I think are about a 1/2 inch, so somewhere in that range is what you want. You just want to make sure you're not going through the sole of that boot into your foot, obviously, because you don't want to poke your stocking foot wader and get a hole in it. So all you really have to do is screw these in the high wear areas and the places that you want to get the most traction. You can put as many as you want, as little as you want, but these are super cheap. You can buy a whole pack of these sheet metal screws and they'll last you probably a lifetime, at least many seasons. And if they get bad halfway through the year, if you lose a couple or you want to change them out every year, there's not much invested in it. Here's something else that I use a lot and that you can make for real cheap at home. These are line keepers. You can see I got a whole bunch of them here that I've made, and they basically just go around your tippet or leader material spools, and it keeps everything nice and tight, and you can just pull line right out of it, cut a piece off, and nothing gets unraveled. A lot of your tippets nowadays, they come with these anyways, maybe some sort of variation of this. I use these on all of my Maxima spools because they don't come with anything. They come with a plastic cover, but it ends up falling all apart. So these work really well. And I use these in my drift boat. I'll have them all stacked in a row. And when I need some leader or tippet material, I just strip off a piece, cut it, and I don't have to worry about this thing unraveling and going all crazy on me. So there's 3 components to this. It's an elastic, a piece of shrink tubing, and a piece of rubber hose or tubing. So this is how you make it here. So cut off a strip of your elastic. Depending on the size of your spool, that length will vary. Cut off a small piece of hose and a small piece of shrink tube. Just lightly glue them to the tube. Let that dry for a minute. Put your shrink tube over the end and hit it with a lighter or a heat gun. Don't put the flame directly on it. You don't want to burn your elastic or melt any of the rubber or anything. Just lightly heat it. As it shrinks up, it'll adhere itself right to everything. And there you go. Let it cool down a little bit. And a lot of times what I like to do is label. I get the white color elastic, and you can label on these. I don't know if that shows up on the camera here. You can see, you can write on these because they're white. So you can put 8 pound, 20 pound, you can put fluorocarbon, you can put 4X, 5X, just so when they're all stacked side by side, you can see exactly what each one of these is. Here's one for you guys. If you guys are into fly fishing, you may have heard of Versa leaders. They're a way to turn a floating or a fly line into a sink tip. They attach to your fly line. You can take it off and remove it. It's basically just a piece of a sink tip fly line. You can buy these pre-made, but if you're a troller and you have a lead core rod and you have some old lead core that you've taken off a reel, or you have some sitting around, you can strip off a few feet of that, maybe a full color, and just wrap it all up, keep it in your bag. And if you ever need to use a sink tip, say you're fishing with your 6-weight and you're fishing dries and you want to switch to streamers and you don't have a way to get that floating line under the surface to fish deeper, you can pull out that piece of lead core, cut off the length that you need, and use it just like a sink tip would. So what you can do is pull back that braided part a lot until you can grab onto the lead, pull out a bunch of lead, break off that lead, and now you're left with just a braided line. You can nail knot that directly to your fly line, and now you have a sink tip on the end of your fly line. You can tie on your short leader for a streamer, and you're ready to fish. Works in a pinch. You can do the same thing with an old sink tip line. If you have one that you've retired, you can cut the sink tip off, keep that in your backpack, and you can use it the same way as you did with this lead core. I broke almost a brand new sink tip fly line last year. So I salvaged the fly line, and I actually took the sinking part of it and attached it to my stream thermometer so I can wrap it all around that. And when I want to get a water temperature, I can unravel it, throw it off the side of the boat or in the water if I'm waiting, and it'll sink down and get to the bottom of the stream that I'm fishing to get an accurate temperature. All right, I think we're on number 6. I'm trying to keep track here. Number 6, bring a Sharpie with you when you go fly fishing. I always carry a black Sharpie and a red Sharpie at least. If you're streamer fishing, you can take that Sharpie and you can either add some red to it to give it a little bit of a injured bait fish look, or you can use the black and add some barring to it to just do a little bit of a subtle change to your fly that might trigger some bites. Hopper flies, anything with foam, that works really well. If you're not getting bites and you want to add like maybe a kill spot or some red or really any color you want, it's a cool way to customize your flies on the go. All right, number 7. I don't know how practical this one is, but I've done it before and I guess it kind of worked. If you're out dry fly fishing, chances are you have some sort of floatant to keep that fly buoyant. I forgot mine once, and one thing I didn't forget was chapstick. I dried my fly off, applied some chapstick, and it floated. I don't know if this is gonna work with every type of chapstick. I don't even remember what kind that I had, but I usually have some in my boat box or in my waders if I'm out in the sun a lot. Warming it up either with your fingers or even maybe a lighter, getting it to a more liquid consistency and lightly brushing it on the hackle of your fly. All right, number 7 or 8, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep rambling them off. I think I got more than 10 here. This one is a really cheap way to make a fly patch, basically. You guys have seen the foam fly patches you can get, these different ones that you can buy. Well, you can make them pretty easy yourself. All you need is some sticky backed Velcro. I had this stuff kicking around. I've used it for a bunch of different projects on my boat. Take the softer, fuzzy side of the Velcro, cut a small piece of it and stick it on anywhere you want. You can stick this on your boat box, you can stick it on your boat, in your truck. You can even, this stuff, I believe you could probably stick to your waders and it would not come off. It's so sticky. All right, the next one is a way to add capacity to your fly boxes. If you have a fly box that only has one side to put your flies on, this is a way to double your capacity if you have the room to do it. Some fly boxes are really thin, so they might not work depending on what sort of flies you're gonna put in there. But if you have a nice deep box and you only have foam on one side of the box, this is a way to double the capacity. So these are the Fulling Mill guide boxes, and you can see on the left-hand side here when I open this up that there is nowhere to store flies. They're kind of a lower profile box, so if you're using bigger streamers or dry flies, you probably don't want to do that. But with smaller streamers, nymphs especially, you can add these EVA foam pieces specifically made to put flies in. They have adhesive on the back. You can cut these to fit your fly box. You can stick it right in there and double the capacity. All you have to do is measure the cover of your fly box, cut it out to fit, and stick it in there. And you can see here, now I have more storage and everything's not all cramped together. I like to be able to see stuff spread out a little bit more, so when I'm trying to choose a fly, I can kind of see what I'm doing. And yeah, I did organize these a little bit because I just did this the other day, but by the time I start fishing, the colors will be all mixed together. But it's a really good way to spread your flies out more and to add capacity to your fly boxes. All right, here's the last one for you guys. You guys are out going to the river, you get to the river, you put your waders on. What do? Do you stand in the gravel while you're putting your boots on and off? You shouldn't, because you're probably gonna get a hole in your waders over time if you do that. The best thing to do is to carry some sort of small piece of maybe a carpet or foam. If you guys are ice fishermen and you have the foam pieces that you use in your shack, you know, exercise mat, a yoga mat, anything really, even a piece of cardboard. Keep it in the back of your vehicle, throw that on the ground, stand on that while you're getting your waders on, and that way your stocking feet aren't getting rocks stuck to them. You're not puncturing the bottom of your wader. Just makes your waders last a lot longer. But the other thing you can do if you want to spend a little bit of money and get a wading bag, a lot of the wading bags have some sort of mat to stand on. I use the BW Sports wading bag. I actually did a video on that bag many years ago. I'll leave it down in the description below. But what's cool about it is you unzip the front and this big mat unrolls, so you can get changed on the mat and not get mud and dirt and debris all over your waders and in your boots, potentially causing damage to your waders. So go check that out down in the description below. All right, guys, that's it. That's my top 10 or 11. I don't know how many I did. Fly fishing hacks or tips and tricks, whatever you want to call them. If you guys have any other things to add, put them down here in the description below. It's always kind of cool to hear what other people do. But I do have some other ones too, so I may do another video like this at some point. Let me know what you guys think. Have you tried any of these yourself? And if you haven't, subscribe. You guys got to subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you guys out in the water. Thanks for watching.